Hello, welcome to the Quint, Ashwini and Abhishek. So the trailer for Ankahi Kahaniya is out and it looks great. So firstly, let me ask you, why Ankahi Kahaniya? What is the central idea behind the concept of the anthology?
I feel in life there are a lot of untold stories and a lot of untold emotions. And when you have the emotions which are untold in form of love, which is again a feeling, you are expressing an emotion which is unexpressed for a very long time, and that bursts out in some way, in some form. So therefore, Ankahi Kahaniya, untold stories.
It is mostly they follow love stories in the city of Mumbai, and your bit makes up for a really unusual love story wherein it is a love story between a man and a mannequin. So what was the conceptualization of this idea like? Where did it come from?
I when I got the idea of that I needed to make a love story, I wanted to challenge myself and make something which is quite different and not and would be slightly more quirky in nature, and also challenge myself as a director. So the one line idea came from our co-writer Piyush Gupta, and it was a very difficult story to write, is because on as a one line idea it seems very exciting, but how do you put this one line idea onto paper and how do you take it forward is what was challenging enough. And the co-writers Nitesh and Shreyas Jain, three of them, I think, did a fabulous job of converting this idea into something substantial, with uh, putting so much of ingredients to challenge the director of how am I going to get it on screen now, all these things. So, and also it was challenging for me as a director to bring all these things together, and to also, I would not say compete, but challenge my actor also in the same space, and challenge my cinematographer also in the same space. So here there was a story where every department had to challenge themselves in the way they're going to be expressing the idea, whether it was cinematography, whether it was the actor, or in this case Abhishek, and whether me as a director.
So Abhishek, tell us a little bit about your character and what drew you to this character.
I think for me, it's always the director and the story. That's what really attracts me about any project, and of course, then the platforms and other channels. So when I think Ashwini ma'am called me, I was looking for a script which would change this evil image of mine which I had acquired after Patal Lok. And I was desperately trying to break that. I was desperately trying to not break that for the audience, but for my own self, because I didn't want to, bind myself and my mind into one particular, area. So when I read the story, immediately I knew that this is something which I have to do because it's going to challenge me, as she said, and she did really challenge me. It was not an easy ride for me. The first few scenes which I was trying to rehearse with her, and every time I would do something, she would be like, "No, try it the other way," and the other ways were exactly what I was looking for. The softness, the character, the innocence, and somebody actually falling in love with a mannequin is something. It's very difficult to how do I put it, conceive it as a realistic approach. You know what I mean? Because you don't you would start thinking कि ये क्या है, पागल है, is he a, again am I playing a psycho lover now, from a psycho killer to a psycho lover? So what am I supposed to do? And then how do I get the how do I look at my mannequin with love and not get anything in return? So and how do I look at her with the emotion of like wanting her but still restraining myself because it's an object. And then she taught me this beautiful word. It's called lovest. So there's an emotion, there's a new emotion called lovest, which is love and lust, somewhere in the middle. And that's the emotion which I actually practiced throughout the shoot. So every time I used to look at the mannequin, I used to look at with lust. I don't know how to do that again, but so that
Dare not do it again.
but that actually helped me because I was not understanding. I did not know how to look at an object with love and with lust and not make it vulgar, because that was one thing she kept telling me, that you have to treat the mannequin like a woman. You have to give her body the respect. You cannot touch her the way you would touch an object. She never let me pull her or pick her up as an object. It was always a girl. So all these things. Now this for me was like different school altogether, because mujhe aaj tak whatever characters I've played, people have just asked me to play like a chichora or a lafander or like the gangster and this and that. And here this lady, this she's telling me to express my desires to an object. So this entire journey for me has been also a very personal journey, because you start understanding the kind of emotions maybe you are not in touch with, and how you get back to those pure, those honest feelings, which probably is a matter of past when you move on in your life. So thank you.
Right.
But it's a
So
one act play for Abhishek in this, yeah. It's almost like going back to theater, and if you had to play all parts in the silence, what would you do? So that itself is most of a mask clown therapy kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. I actually started talking to my curtains while performing this. No, seriously, I did.
ज़्यादा हो गया.
Seriously, I did it. I actually practiced with my curtains.
Yeah, I talk to my MacBook. I usually ask how it is. Is she feeling okay? Is she charged enough today? Because suddenly you'll switch on and then you see that, the energy is not there.
Does Siri talk back like that?
I think all of us are talking to our MacBooks right now. I know I am. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Ashwini, you seem to have mastered the storytelling narrative of small towns and characters that belong to smaller towns. So this time, how different was it to craft a story around a city like Mumbai?
I feel like that's exactly what I didn't want to do, is because I wanted to not tag myself. Like every time I speak, it's just that, okay, you are very good at small town stories. And for me, it's not that. For me, it is challenging myself with characters who belong to certain areas. And then you go revolving. Okay, this is a character who stays, this is the place, and what will happen around him or her in the given place. So that exploration is very important. That idea of ethnography, the idea of exploration in terms of characterization, fabric of a place, the way the person would speak, what would they eat, what would they do, what time do they sleep, where do they stay, what does the neighbors look like, everything plays a very important role in shaping that character. So for me, it is not about small town or cities. For me, it is more about the character and where they are set, and then everything revolves around them. Yes, I started off with telling small town stories is because I just felt that there was so much of unexplored characters out there, and colors and intensity of Middle India, which was not explored and spoken about much a few years back, and I like evolving as a storyteller. So now I think there are enough stories there, and it's time for me to move on and start exploring different kinds of stories. Yeah.
You said that it's more about the character journey and less about the city, but from the trailer of the anthology and of your bit too, I take that Mumbai is somewhere a major part of your story as well, because it captures the loneliness of the city and how people navigate through it. So, but Mumbai has been explored time and again as a theme, location, plot in the Hindi film industry since forever. So was it a very conscious thought to not let it come in the way, or make your story different in a sense that it hasn't been seen or felt by the audience before?
The fabric of a place can be used n number of times. It's not what you see, it's how you do it. It's how you see it and what you explore in that given place. So For example, there are n number of love stories, but it's never going to diminish. It will never end, and you will see every love story which is very different. And similarly, we will take a location, or we'll take a setting which may be similar, but it's how you explore that location and what you do with that location. Yes, Mumbai is a very integral part of all the three stories, but as you see, all the three different directors have explored it in three different ways. So it's like, I always give this example, like that if you shoot a ketchup bottle, you can shoot a ketchup bottle more than 100 ways. You can photograph a ketchup bottle more than 100 ways. And that's what filmmaking and storytelling and creative journey is, that you can look at one thing in 1,000 different ways. It's up to you on how you choose it, how what you choose and how you show it.
And it's
So
also, for me, sorry, I would like to add to that, like, it's also not about locations particularly, sometimes the space also gives you an emotion. For an actor, a space is very, very important. So I think for our story, I don't know about the other two stories, and for me, I think it couldn't have been placed anywhere but Mumbai, because it's a city of migrants. It's a city where people leave their families and leave their probably comfortable life, and come to the city to make it big. This is the financial capital of India. So we have all those people coming from across the country, and then suddenly they're in this city. और वो कुछ लोग हैं जो रह जाते हैं, कुछ लोग छोड़ जाते हैं. तो वो जो उनके बीच की भी जो कहानी है ना, I think वो कहना बहुत ज़रूरी है. That emotion is very, very important.
So Abhishek, your filmography has been very interesting, and the OTT space has even allowed the audience to see you perform in ways that have really made you stand out as a performer. So, what has your very vast experience in the digital content world so far, like, given you and taught you?
It's still teaching me. It's, I think, educating me every day. Every day I see some new content and I realize that okay, I can try probably this or that, or probably I should keep my mind open for something completely out of my comfort zone, because that's what OTT does. OTT just throws you into stories and characters which are probably not your to the liking. Probably sometimes you might just feel that this is not my space, but then the director imagines you in a particular space, and you have to now be at your best and perform. So that's what I like about OTT. The stories which are written and whatever we are seeing, it's very fresh, and it's basically it gets a little tiring when you see the same kind of characters. I think that is the most important thing for me as an actor, that I have seen so many references of similar characters over the years that I don't know how to make something completely new as an actor if I'm not given the support of the script. But now when I read a character, I see that it's written differently, it's thought differently. There are things which probably you have not seen before, and this is the new, that's the new space, or very generic, the fresh space for actors is something which I think all of us are going to enjoy for more years.
And Ashwini, after like consecutive big features, you're finally returning to the short form storytelling. So is it now more comfortable? Like, do you feel more comfortable with it, or was it more challenging?
No, I think I have started with short stories, and whether it was What's for Breakfast, or whether it was Ghar Ki Murgi, which I did last year in March, or before that I made a film called Brothers. And for me, it really doesn't matter whether it's a long format or a short format. For me, what matters is how I'm going to explore myself and challenge myself in a storyline. And I do feel that making a short film is far more challenging than making a 2-hour film, is because in that short film you can just not leave it alone there, and you have to encompass everything, and in that 35 minutes or 40 minutes you want to say the whole story. Also, short stories gives you the liberty to to challenge yourself in terms of just not direction, but also other departments like cinematography and characterization and colors, color explorations. So that gives you, and also you kind of I do feel that it's important to keep making short films, is because it also, um, it's also like oiling the engine. It also keeps you updated with new technology, with new forms of filmmaking, and that is very important for a director, to keep abreast with what's happening around the world.
One quick last question before we leave. So, what is the one feeling that the audience will leave with when they are done watching your film in the anthology?
For me, it is definitely a lingering thought that this happens to me also, to each one of us. We just don't talk about it. That's why it's untold. That's why it is Ankahi Kahaniya.
And for me, I think it's empathy, you know. I feel that we empathize a lot lesser than we should generally towards people in general or strangers. I hope that, you know, this series, this three short stories, you know, give the audience a way to understand empathy. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for talking to us
Thank
and all
you.
the
Thank
best.
you.